Today's short horror story is How to Get Expelled from Kindergarten by Reddit user WordDogger. I got called to my daughter's school today. Seems she's been expelled from kindergarten. I spoke with the principal briefly, then took Ellie home. Her teacher agreed to wait after school for me to come talk to her. I found her alone in her classroom, so we sat at one of the short little kid-sized tables and began to talk. She told me that in all her years as a teacher, she had never seen anything like it. Ellie had always been such a sweet little girl, but, well, what she had seen today had been beyond the pale, and she hadn't known what else she could have done. The first incident happened in the morning. She'd stepped into her classroom closet to retrieve some art supplies. When she'd come back out, all of the students in her class were standing up and twirling themselves around, sort of like little ballerinas, except for Ellie. Ellie had been sitting at her desk and twirling her finger around in the air, watching her classmates with amusement. That struck her as very odd, but thought perhaps it'd been some sort of group prank. She shrugged it off and continued with the class. Right after lunch, though, things had sort of taken a turn. One she and the principal had agreed merited Ellie's expulsion. Granted, they didn't understand it, but under the circumstances, they hadn't known what else they could have done. They had to think of the safety of the other children. Ellie's teacher told me she'd stepped into her little in-class bathroom for just a second to wash her hands. When she came out, no one was in the room but Ellie. She'd been sitting at her table using the first two fingers on her hand to intimidate walking, like her hand was a little puppet trapezing across the tabletop. Ellie's teacher said she felt panicked right away, but then there'd come a loud screeching sound, like tires from a nearby street, followed immediately by several thunderous crashes. She and several of her colleagues ran outside together and saw a horrifying sight. Ellie's teacher's students had crawled over the playground fence and marched straight into the street, into the heavy traffic there, causing a massive pileup. Fortunately, none of the children had been injured, but after a lengthy discussion, they agreed that the best course for now was to expel little Ellie. I had heard enough. I thanked her for her time and then reached into my purse and pulled out a little pistol I always carry. I laid it on the table as I stood, and then used my hand to mimic shooting myself in the head as I left the classroom. By the time I made it to the side of the door, I heard the shot resonate through the halls. I was beside myself as I drove home, savoring everything I had just been told. Little Ellie was coming of age. I can't wait to tell her father. He'll be so proud.